Hi, my name is Priyal Himanshu Kapadia. My student ID is S22474168, and today I'm going to do my task 3.3D of SIT Object Oriented Programming. And in this task, I am gonna explain my polynomial task. I have made I have got two CS files. One is for the class file, and the other is testing file. The my polynomial.cs is the class where I have defined the functionalities, which I have defined public methods to get the degree, to convert polynomial into readable format, to evaluate the polynomial for given x, and then add another polynomial, and then I'll multiply two polynomials. I have done that. Let's start with defining the I have started with defining coefficient as a double list, as a double array, not list. And then I have made a constructor which initializes the polynomial with the given coefficients. I have got trim trail zeros because I'll explain that later. This will come. I was very much confused about different types of inputs, and that is the only reason I have got it over here, and I will justify it when I move forward. I have got this get degree. Now I will justify it. So if I want to get a degree of a polynomial where the input is 1 3 1 3 0 1 3 3 and 0, let's keep it 1 3 3 and 0. So like 0 is for the last term, so that is like x cube, the coefficient of x cube is 0. So that won't count as a degree, right? But if I use this logic where I reduce length by -1 and then get that as degree, then it won't make sense, because the length -1 won't be the exact answer if the last input is 0. For the last variable, the coefficient is 0. So hence I have used the trailing method, where if the last is 0, then we trail that 0 and count the length as the non last non-zero index. And that is the only reason I have used it. I have defined the comments, so we can, like, it is easily understandable. I have run a while loop where it checks that if the last index is greater than 0, like just for loop running, and then it checks that the value at that index is equals to 0, and if it is 0, then it reduces, and if it is not a 0, then nothing happens. It creates a new array with only up to the last non-zero indexes. Then there is this method to get the degree. The degree I have got by using length, that is it returns the length of the degree, length of the coefficients -1. I have converted the polynomial into readable string by uh, by by running a for loop. That is, I have used indexing as the way of writing x. Like, if it is at index 0, then x raised to 0 we can represent. If it is at index 1, then it is x raised to 1. If it is at index 2, it is x raised to 2, that is x square. If it is at index 3, then it is x cube. This is nothing but I'm just appending it. And else if uh, uh, append the final 0, like, else if it is not 0, then we put a hyphen, and then add coefficients and variable. If I is equals to 0, then it appends the coefficient. If I is equals to 1, then it appends the coefficient x. Then if else, coefficient x raised to I. As I said, as I explained before, I've done the same thing. If all the coefficients were 0, then we can write append 0 0 0, like that thing. And then I have done evaluate the polynomial for given x. It is nothing but I have put the value of x, like, uh, I have used math.power function over here to raise the x that that particular power, and the value of x is defined in the evaluate function while we take the input. And add polynomial is nothing but we define two polynomials and then add them using get degree. Like, I have done is like I had made sure that I is less than the degree, and then and the coefficient of, by using the coefficient of I for one polynomial, then using the coefficient of I of the other polynomial, coefficient I that is like the other polynomial. Why is that happening? Did I write anything? Because it was, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and mm, yeah, that is the thing. Like I've used for loop again over here to make sure it starts with I is equals to 0. Most of these things are done over here on indexing. I have made this thing based on index because that is the easier thing. Like that is the easiest thing one could do. And then I have defined a max degree over here. That is math.max. I'm using this functions over here, the inbuilt functions. Then new coefficients. It is nothing, just a new coefficient double array is formed where max degree plus one. Same thing. Multiplying was a little task. I have to run two nested loops because multiplying was with first, in the first loop, the first I of first like I of the first polynomial with j of the first polynomial we need to multiply, and then plus I and j like the other, in the other loop as well. So I have, it is like 2 plus 4 multiplied by 2 plus 4, so it is like 2 into 2 4 plus 2 plus 4 8. So that kind of logic I have used over here. As you can see, I have mentioned everything in the comments, but I can still answer questions if needed. Otherwise, the video gets too long and then it gets very difficult to. And then also, yeah, there is this test function where I have initialized the polynomials with 11 minus 4 and 3, 11, 1 and 2. And then I have tested the toString method, which displays the polynomial value inputted as the string, and then test the degree. It gets the degree of the polynomial, the evaluate x, for which like we input the value of x, and for which like substituting that value of x, it gives the output. And then I have tested add as well. It adds both the polynomials, polynomial 1 and polynomial 2, pol 1 and pol 2, and then test multiply. I'll run the code and, oh, sorry, cd my polynomial. Is that happening with that? Cd code, cd my polynomial, and then .NET build. Okay, for .NET build, and then I'm gonna run it, and that's it. .NET run. As you can see, the polynomial 1 is represented in string format. The polynomial 2 is represented in string format. The degree of the polynomial is also represented. The degree of polynomial 2 is also represented over here. It has evaluated the polynomial 1 for x value 2, and it has evaluated polynomial 2 with the value of x is equals to 2, and then the sum of polynomial is represented over here, and then the product of polynomial is also represented. So that was my task. Thank you.